Thank you, thank you. All right, we'll see you soon. Bye. All right, here it is, Bob. Could you turn that off, please? Oh, let me, where are you, Bob?
Oh, boy.
Where's Bob?
There's Nothing? Nothing? Let me know if you want me to do it.
Siri, See. Bruchim Habaim, thank you for being here to support Robin's family in this time of mourning, to remember her and her beautiful life and legacy. We are especially offering our support and condolences to her husband, George, of nearly 45 years, who met Robin his senior year of high school. George shared about on their first date, he remembered her making a smiley face in her food and how she made him smile through their many, many years together. We are offering condolences for Robin's children, Alex and Mallory, and her son-in-law, Martin, and her beautiful grandson, Ethan, and to her father, Robert, who is joining us over Zoom, and to Janet. Robin was a loving wife, mother, and daughter, a devoted friend, a dedicated and trusted attorney, and a generous community member, all of which shows through all the people who are here today. Robin's family described her as caring, loving, dedicated, and resilient. And anyone who knew and loved her knew that is who she is and who she was and who she always will be in our memories with her. In this last week's Torah portion, we started the book of Bamidbar, the book of Numbers. And at the beginning of the Torah portion, when God commands Moses to take a census of the Israelites, rather than simply saying, let's count each of the Israelites, the Torah uses an expression, she'u et rosh, lift up the head as you count each and every person. This teaches us that counting people is meant to elevate and recognize the dignity and uniqueness of each and every person. Whether it was her work, her volunteer work, or the way she was a friend or a family member, that is who Robin was. She lifted up others and honored who they were. So my hope is that in Robin's honor, you will do the exact same, especially today, especially this week, that through your lifting up others, you are helping to create her memory as a blessing. So throughout our time today, we're going to hear some words from family, and we also will later in our service offer an opportunity for you also to share some words. I'm putting that out there now, so I can invite you to be present and listen, but know that you will also have an opportunity to do so if you would like. So my name is Cantor Lila Sugarman, and I am grateful to be here to be the sole spiritual leader of United Jewish Center. And now it is my honor to call up Robin's daughter, Mallory, to lead us in Esa Einai.
Where will my help come from? Yavo Ezri, Me'ayin Yavo, Yavo Ezri.
Psalm 23 sings about how we cannot avoid going through the shadow of the valley of death. We cannot avoid going through the grieving or mourning process when someone we love and cared about has died. And we do not need to do it alone, that we must rely on our community, the people around us, and God to guide us through and support us through our mourning. Adonai ro'i lo echsar bino dasha yaritzeni al mei manuchot yenach aleini nafshi Yeshover, Yancheni v'magalei tzedek, leman shemo. Gam ki eilach v'gat salmavet, lo ata imadi shivtecha umishantecha hemayanachamuni taroch lefanai shulchan Sorai, Dijanta Veshaman Roshi, Kosi Mevaya, Atov Chesed Yedivoni, Koyam Mechayai, Koyam Mechayai, Veshamti beveit Adonai leorech yamim. Adonai ro'i lo echsar. Adonai is my shepherd. I shall not want. God makes me lie down in green pastures, leads me beside still waters, and restores my soul. You lead me in the right path for the sake of your name. Even when I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You have set a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You have anointed my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of God forever. At this time, it is my honor to call up Janet Kahn to share some words on behalf of Bob Kahn.
As Lila said, Bob is watching us on Zoom. He is now in a rehab facility, getting his strength back and ready to come home next week. So he's really sorry he couldn't be here, but he did ask me to read his remarks, and this is what he wants to say. Robin was born 71 years ago on St. Patrick's Day. I think that's why she loved the color green so much. She was a beautiful child, born in New York, and in 1958, the family moved to Danbury. I was very proud of her and all of her accomplishments, including being the first woman at Worcester School in Danbury, graduating Phi Beta Kappa from Trinity College in Hartford, completing her law degree at the University of Connecticut, and giving birth to my two wonderful granddaughters, Alexandra and Mallory. In addition to being a successful law partner, she was also there for her mother and father. She helped us move from our family home to a newly constructed townhouse in Lake Place, and was always available when we needed legal advice, hopefully not too often. Robin loved spending time in our summer home on Fire Island, and the family is continuing the tradition. They're especially looking forward to introducing Ethan, my favorite great-grandson, to the sand and the Atlantic Ocean. I think about Robin all the time and how brave and resilient she was as she battled cancer. She was a role model to so many women and will be fondly remembered by all who knew her. I miss Robin and will never stop loving her.
Thank you for sharing those beautiful words. We're going to now call up her daughter, Mallory.
A few words about Mom. From the outside, given her diagnosis, Mom's passing may not seem unexpected. But to all who knew her well, none of us believed she would leave us so soon. Mom was resilient in the face of cancer and the many symptoms and complications that came with it. Yes, she had this illness, and yes, she had times where she was sick from it, but having cancer and these times of sickness never defined her. She continued to be present and a loving mother, shielding us from the worst of what was going on. She continued to be a steadfast worker, even working from her hospital bed. This resilience and refusal to give in to the many trials that came her way is one of the things I admired most about her. Her strength in the face of all of this and her ability to still go on with normal family life was a blessing to us. Mom cared deeply about those that she loved, her family and friends, and we all knew that she cared. With check-ins, mailed cards, and celebratory wishes, she made sure those close to her felt her warmth and love. She was so excited to become a grandma. Looking forward to a new member of the family, she had started a baby pool, guessing when he would be born, his height and weight, and his name. Martin and I had already picked the name Ethan, but had decided not to share it until he was born. So I gave Mom our initial list of names with around 25 to choose from. And when we saw the baby pool, she had guessed correctly. She had guessed Ethan, and it feels like it's her approval and her blessing. And now a few words for Mom. It doesn't feel real. Here we are, over 5 months later, and I still expect to see you. We've been apart for longer before, while I was in Israel, and it seems like we're just in one of those long stretches, that you're just a plane ride away, but you're not. I want to go back, to still call you every day in the car, ride home from work, to send you pictures of the cats, to update you on how I'm feeling and getting along. And there is so much now that I want to share with you and get your advice on. How hard it's been, updates about my job, and of course, becoming a mother, and all about your grandson. Ethan Robin Kahn Johnston holds your name in the middle of his. He has been a true blessing, and I'm so sorry that you didn't get to meet him. And yet, in the middle of the night, when he's just fallen asleep in my arms and smiles, I know you're there with us, getting in your grandma time. He will know about you and about the wonderful person that you were. Our Torah and Jewish teachings tell us, love doesn't die, people do. As long as we're here keeping my mom's memory and love alive, she's still with us.
I have Alex to share some words.
Thank you all for being here today. It means so much to our family to be surrounded by people who knew my mom, loved her, and were touched by her in so many different ways. Robin was caring and loving, deeply reliable, and incredibly strong. She was a wife, a mother, a friend, and an attorney, and she brought the same intelligence and determination to each of these roles. She persevered through every stage of life and gave that same steady commitment to her family, her friends, her coworkers, and her clients. She also had a great sense of humor, one that I like to think that I have inherited. One of the things that I've come to appreciate even more as I've gotten older is just how much she managed to hold together at once. She worked hard, gave so much of herself to others, and still made sure we always knew how loved we were. My mom also believed deeply in showing up for her community. She sustained a tight circle of friends, and she gave her time and energy generously, most notably to the Bethel Library Board, where she recently served as chair, and so many more opportunities. She cared about making things better, and she lived that value not just in her words, but in her actions. People who don't know my parents very well are often surprised to hear that they met in high school and truly made it work and sustained that love through every chapter of life. When I was in high school, I was once interviewed about what it was like to have a working mother. And at the time, I remember thinking that was nothing particularly unusual about it. It was simply the way that our family was. It was normal that she worked hard, balanced so many responsibilities, and that together, she and my dad make sure that our family life functioned, even then when that meant that he was managing things at home when she was at an endless zoning board meeting. What I understood then was that she loved us, and what I understand even more now is how extraordinary she was doing all of that while also living with cancer for 31 of my 39 years. As much as she cared about her work and community commitments, what she really loved most was opportunities to escape all of them at our house on Fire Island. It's a place with many happy family memories, and I feel especially grateful that after living abroad for several years and now being down in Washington, D.C. and not making it home as much I would have liked over the last few years, I was able to spend a dedicated month each summer out on the island with my family and with my mom for the past several. Those weeks gave us real quality time, whether on the beach, reading on the back porch, playing dominoes, catching up on TV shows, and simply being together. And I feel so lucky that I was able to make this a tradition, and now that I have those memories to carry with me. Another thing my mom loved was gardening, both at home and out on Fire Island. And in the past few years, when she was not able to travel or get out as much as she would have wanted, I started sending her pictures of flowers whenever I came across a particularly impressive garden around my neighborhood or when traveling. She could always identify even the most obscure plant and would often send back a picture of their cat, Dalit, in return. It became a simple, everyday exchange that I now cherish, and as we move through spring and into summer, I still find myself taking pictures of flowers all the time, thinking of her every time I stop to do so. My mom taught me so much over the years, but two of the greatest lessons she gave me are those of resilience and generosity. Resiliency is obviously a theme here. She showed me how to keep going, how to care for other people even when life is hard, and how to meet the world with strength and with grace. I find it hard to fully put into words all that my mom meant to me. She was a constant presence in my life, someone I could count on, learn from, and who I love deeply. I miss her so much, and I know that I was well, but I also know how fortunate I am to be her daughter and how lucky I am to have had her love for as long as I did. I know that all of us who loved her will carry that love forward. We will carry her humor, her steadiness, her generosity, and the example that she set. And in that way, she will remain with us in our families and in our memories and in the small moments that bring her back to me. Thank you.
Eli, Eli, shelo yigamer leolam, hachol v'chayam, rishu shel hamayim, barak hashamayim, tfilat adam, bechol v'hayam, rishu shel hamayim, barak hashamayim, tfilat adam. Oh God, my God, I pray that these things never end. The sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart, the sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart. This time we invite up George, Robin's husband, to share some words and memories.
In March of 1977, good enough? All right, I can speak louder. Sent me this postcard. I love you. And the first one will be a Rachel, a Rebecca, or a Sarah, not an Adam. So 9 years and 8 months later, on November 10th of 1986, the first was, as Robin hoped, an Alexandra. An additional 3 years and 8 months later, she doubled down on July 22nd, 1990, with Mallory. These two confident, accomplished, and women are our greatest joy. Ethan Robin Kahn Johnston. What do I tell him about his grandma? I'll start at the very beginning. I was standing in the honor room at Worcester School late afternoon on a Friday when I felt a hand on my left shoulder. Okay. At least it breaks the mood. That's good. Good? Yes? All right. I felt a hand on my left shoulder. Can I have a ride to the game tomorrow? Turning, I looked into those big brown eyes and instantly said yes. Turning, I looked into those big brown eyes, losing my space. She smiled that smile. We set a time for me to pick her up at school the following day, and then she was gone. I was the starting center halfback on the soccer team, and seniors were allowed to drive themselves to games. Having been caught up in the moment of having said yes to Robin, I realized there were a few details overlooked. I was a 5-day boarder with weekend privileges, meaning I could go home on weekends if in good standing. However, I haven't been checked out for this weekend with the on-duty faculty member, and I don't own a car. I quickly signed out for the weekend and caught a ride home with another senior on the team. I explained the situation to my father. He looked at me with the understanding only a father could have and said I could have the use of our only family car for the day. I drive from Pound Ridge to Worcester, pick Robin up, then drive to the King's School in Stamford for our game, which we won. On the way back to Worcester, Robin and I stopped at Friendly's in Ridgefield, and what I remember from that meal was her making a smiley face on her hamburger with a squeezed bottle of the ketchup. The day was October 23rd, 1971. Every year, for 54 years, on the 23rd, we have celebrated our first date. When at the house in Ocean Beach, occasionally we would like to wake up early, go down to the beach, and watch the sunrise. Then we would walk along the beach looking for sea glass. On one morning's walk, I was far ahead of Robin and called to her that I had found a piece of sea glass. As Robin approached, I opened my hand, and in the palm, there wasn't sea glass. Instead, a set of diamond-studded earrings. On bended knee, in the sand, I proposed. That was June 24th of 1979. We were married a year later, and this past August 3rd, we celebrated our 45th wedding anniversary. Smart and kind is how her college roommate described Robin. Robin's RA summed up her year this way: partied Friday nights, then studying in the library all day Saturday. Robin balanced her social life with a disciplined work ethic, graduating Phi Beta Kappa from Trinity College in 1977, and 3 years later, a Juris Doctorate from the University of Connecticut Law School. In October of 1980, Robin joined Cohn & Wolfe as an associate, and in 1987, having built a substantial practice, was made a partner. In June of 2021, Robin retired, having served her Cohn & Wolfe clients for 41 years. I have in my hand a card that one of her clients sent me, which really sums up her relationship with her clients. Kind, wise, patient, and generous are not the words most people would choose to describe their attorney. But Robin was all of those things and more to me. As I look back on my professional path and development, I can honestly say that without Robin's mentorship and friendship, I would not have succeeded or survived the first few years of business. Robin's influence in my life was more than teaching me real estate transactions and association management. She taught me how to be tough yet fair, how to protect yourself without harming others, and how to always operate with integrity and character. I am grateful to have known her and will continue to be guided by her wisdom. Robin felt strongly about an education that would serve one well. She felt that about her own education and the education she afforded Alex and Mallory. Therefore, wanting in some way to have a relationship with and an impact on Ethan's life, Robin has tasked me with setting up a trust that will fund Ethan's education. Ethan, hopefully you'll be fortunate enough to love, partner with, be best friends with, and parent with someone, as I have, with the love of my life. Your grandma. Thank you.
If you're able, I invite you to rise. El male rachamim shochein bamramim hametzei menucha nechona tachat kanfech hashina im knoshim utorim kezohar orakim ativim et nishmat Rachel bat Moshe veMiki shel halcha leolam baramim yastira basater kanafav leolamim Yitzror chaim et nishmata Adonai hu nachalata v'tanuach b'shalom al mishkava v'nomar amen. Full compassionate God on high, to our loved one who has entered eternity, grant her clear and certain rest with you. In the lofty heights of the sacred and pure, whose brightness shines like the very glow of heaven, source of mercy forever, enfold her in the embrace of your wings. Secure her soul in eternity. Adonai, she is yours. May she rest in peace. And together we say, Amen. You may be seated. Before we come towards the conclusion of our service, the family wanted to give an opportunity for people to share a few words, a few memories. We're going to invite people to stay where they are, and we're going to just pass around the mic for those who'd like to share. Ethan has already broken the ice. He was the first one to say something, so anybody else is welcome to do so as well.
Thank you.
No, Ethan first, then you.
For those of you who don't know me, and those of you who do, I'm still Neil Marcus, and I was honored to be a law partner of Robin's for her entire career at Cohn & Wolfe, which actually started from my relationship with her at the Worcester School. Unfortunately, I'm too old to have been her classmate, but and I'm looking around this crowd here, and I'm saying, I thought I knew Robin for the longest time, but her law school buddies probably knew her longer too. But when I met Robin, she was actually in law school, and I was the president of the Alumni Council of the Worcester School, and we used to meet like once a quarter, and Robin was a class rep from her class, and I would become friends, talking mostly about her experience in law school. And then when she got out of law school, she sent me a note saying that she was looking for a job in the Danbury area. Did I know of any openings? So I took it upon myself to call up my senior partner, Austin Wolf, in Bridgeport, and say, we have a rare opportunity to hire somebody for our Danbury office who's just a quality person that we shouldn't pass on. And Austin reminded me that we weren't looking for any help at the time, but as an accommodation to me, he actually interviewed with Robin. And about a week later, she was starting her job at Cohen and Wolf basically in the Danbury office, where she hung her hat for years. But Robin was just the consummate lawyer and law partner. I'm not sure whether I contributed to her career by getting her the first job, or she contributed to my career by keeping me on the right path for all those years and being my sounding board and my alter ego whenever I was absent. And to this day, when my wife, Lisi, tells me that she wants to take a vacation, I'm almost tempted to say, well, you got to call Robin first, because that's what I would do. When Lisi would suggest a time to take off, I'd say, we got to run it by Robin, because Robin would always cover for me, and I could never be concerned about her dealing with my clients. And then I realized later that my clients all left me and they were really her clients, which they used to come in the office once in a while and say hello to me and say, well, I'm here to see Robin. And that was the evolution of our career. But Robin, besides being my trusted and wonderful law partner, the lady I'd said goodnight to almost every night at around 7 o'clock, because she insisted on leaving the office after I did, which is her work ethic. But we shared so much in common. Our relationship as co-trustees of the Worcester School for many years. We would spend long hours discussing education, politics, raising children. And to me, I mean, Robin was just more than the law partner. She was like my sister. And as I think back, I probably spent more time with Robin than I actually did with my own sister, who I love dearly. But it was just a wonderful relationship. And I'm jealous of George, because he knew her first. And but he found her at Worcester too. And I'm jealous of the girls that had this fabulous relationship with a lady who was of impeccable character and ability and set an example for all of us. And you know what? I do still miss her. Thank you.
Thank you, Neil. I'm Mimi Lyons. I was a law school classmate of Robin's, and she was one of my dearest friends. And as the great lyricist Oscar Hammerstein said, as long as there's one person on earth who remembers you, it isn't over. And just looking around today, we see how many lives Robin touched. We were friends for 48 years. We were both only children who spent our whole lives in the community that we grew up in. We were mothers of daughters, real estate lawyers, working moms. We retired on the same day during COVID. We shared a love of Saturday Night Live, candy corn, licorice, podcasts, and books. When I told her I wanted to read George Eliot's Middlemarch as soon as I retired, we formed an ad hoc two-person book group and met over Zoom each week for months to tackle the 880-page book. Loyal, steady, trustworthy. She had no ego. She never raised her voice, at least not to me. She was practical. With Robin, there was no drama. She was the first person I'd turn to when I was facing a personal or professional problem. She'd listen without judgment and offer solid, practical advice. She was a vault that held all of my secrets, and I'm pretty sure she carried them to her grave. On my last visit with her, I told her about a project that a friend of mine was working on around the topic of legacy. When I asked her what she wanted her legacy to be, she paused and said, "I don't have a legacy. I was too busy just trying to live my life and get by day to day." A typical Robin response. She hated being the center of attention. I think that she wanted more than anything else to live a normal life, to spend time with George and the girls, sit on the beach at Fire Island with a good book, tend to her garden, spend time with her friends, be a grandmother. Although she lived with cancer for more than 30 years, she didn't want cancer to define her life. She was reluctant to talk about her struggles with her illness, even at the end. She was an ordinary person who met the daunting health challenges in her life by just putting one foot in front of the other, day by day, year by year, and by doing so, she became extraordinary and inspirational. I think that's her legacy. She's gone, but we will all remember her, and it won't be over.
My husband and I were Robin's next door neighbor since 1992. The day that I met Robin was the day that we were moving in, and this is just a wonderful memory. She had Mallory on her hip, and she came strolling down our driveway as we were unloading boxes to introduce herself to us. Good neighbor doesn't even describe what Robin was. Through the years, although we did not necessarily spend any great amount of time together, we always made a point of getting together periodically to sit on the porch and have some tea or have a glass of wine. And she helped us through so many things in our life. The soccer games that George and Mallory were involved in, our kids were involved with that. She recommended that my daughter go to Worcester. We followed her lead. She later on assisted my daughter with the purchase of her home. And the last time I saw Robin, I had asked her to come over and have a cup of tea. And we did. We had tea and we had cookies. And I will always remember her, when we often caught up was when we were doing our gardening. And I'll always remember her out there in the garden poking around just like me. And then we'd get up and take a break and stand together. And I have to say that this spring was very hard for me. I would walk outside and not see her there. And that was very difficult for me. But she really defined the word neighbor and was wonderful to us. And I'm personally very grateful for her friendship and all the great things she did for us over the years. So thank you to her and your family.
I'm Nancy's husband, and of course I had no Robin. One thing Robin did, besides all the qualities everyone's mentioned, I could repeat them over and over again, times 10, times 100. However, what she did as an attorney actually gave us, at times, free legal advice. So right there, I'm just shocked. That's all I could tell you. And that's way above and beyond. That's the way to describe Robin, just above and beyond. Thank you.
My name is Jordan Kahn, and I've known Robin my entire life. She had a very special relationship with my father, Alan, who was Bob's younger brother. And I know they're together right now, and that makes me happy in all this. Robin, even though she was technically my cousin, at times she was more like an aunt, times the cool older sister. She was a mentor to me, inspired me to go to law school and find my law firm to become a partner in. And I have so many outstanding memories throughout my entire life. I don't even really know where to begin, but I would like to take this time and read something that my wife wrote, because I think it really shares a lot about Robin's character. The first time I met Robin was during my very first Thanksgiving after moving to the US from Japan. The warm smile and the overflowing kindness Robin showed me at the time remained vividly in my memory. My impression of Robin was truly that of a gentle and wonderful person. After that, we had the pleasure of seeing Robin again at Fire Island in the summer and during Thanksgiving and Passover gatherings, and looking forward to those meetings was always a joy to our family. After our children were born, Robin never failed to send a heartfelt birthday card every year. Even from a distance, it was clear that Robin cherished and watched over our family. It's difficult to believe that Robin had been battling an illness for such a long time. Whenever we met, Robin always had the same peaceful smile, so we were completely unaware of the pain. Robin was truly a strong and deeply compassionate person who never revealed the suffering and instead gave comfort to those around. The deep affection and warm memories that Robin left us are an invaluable treasure to our family.
My name is Tia Murphy, and I served with Robin for 15 years on the Bethel Public Library Board. And I'm sorry, I have to compose myself for a second. You know, library boards or boards in general are interesting places, and library boards can really be challenging because people come to them for different reasons. And Robin's reason, I asked her this once, was because she felt that educating people, making things available to people that they might not be able to afford themselves or even know about, was really the most important thing that she brought to the table. Well, you know, you serve with somebody for a long time, and I didn't know Robin outside of, I didn't grow up in this area. I came here to take care of my father until he passed, and so Robin and I really, you know, we were casual, knew each other. But about 2 years ago, we had a union grievance problem that I was the lead negotiator, and because she was chair at the time, she and I had to serve together. And I had been working on the different negotiations throughout the whole process. And Robin had said to me, you know, Tia, I was hoping that in my chairmanship, I would avoid ever having to deal with this, because this is, as I lived in the South for a long time. We had an expression, we called it a tar baby, because once you touch it, it stuck to you. And she was, so the two of us went through this. And if you've ever been through negotiations, you know, of any sort, there are periods where, you know, it's very intense, and then you have long periods where you're waiting for the other party to respond. And that's when Robin and I really got to know each other. I found out about her love of gardening. We both are intrepid gardeners. She knew that I was a birder, and so we would talk about the different birds that she would see and that I would see. And that was how we filled our time. We also, she had shared with me what was happening to her in her illness. And I was honored that somebody felt comfortable and trusting enough to share that, because I had some things in my life that I was going through that I needed a thought partner and somebody to share it with who was not involved in my day-to-day life, so they had a good perspective, as we both did, of each other, and could honestly take things in and give a response. And that was Robin. My last time I saw her was at our October board meeting. I was going to be going on a month-long trip to the Amazon on a cruise. And Robin had said to me, I envy you. I really, when you get back, I want to talk to you about it. Unfortunately, Robin passed before we had that opportunity. But I will share one thing. She loved mockingbirds. and there was a mockingbird that's on Blackman Avenue that's usually on the telephone lines that would go across the road. And I had told her about this, and she had gone there and did finally see it. It's one of those sporadic things. But I hadn't seen the bird in a really long time, although I kept looking for it. And the other day on the way to the transfer station and just sort of doing things and knowing I'd be here on Sunday, I looked up and there was that mockingbird singing its heart out. And I tell you, I had to stop, pull over, and just thank Robin for that great gift. The gift of her friendship, the gift of her time, the gift of herself. And thank you all for coming, and thank you all for sharing our precious Robin.
It's a work in progress, but through a generous donation from Conan Wolf and through generous donations from individuals to the library, we're setting up what we're going to call the Robin Kahn Law Resources Center at the library. So that's something that will go on and on and on, and be a service to the community for those who can't afford a lawyer, to be able to go in and get some advice or go online and find the resources that they need.
My name is Judy Weinstein, and like Mimi, Robin. Is it on? Okay, just keep talking. So, I'll be very brief, but Robin was the first person I met when we started law school at UConn. The parking lot was a long way from the actual junior high type building in which the school was housed. And we got out of our cars and we started walking and chatting. Where are you from? She said, I'm from Danbury. I said, oh, wow, I'm from Easton. I can't believe it's somebody. Blah, blah, blah. And we became friends immediately. And we've watched our children grow up. We spent many years going to the Yale-Harvard football games, the tailgating with our mutual friends. We watched the kids grow up. And the one thing about Robin, among many other things, is that I never heard her complain, ever. And the trials and tribulations that she went through her life were unbelievable. And when we talk about resilience, Robin is the epitome of resilience. And we're all going to miss her. We already do miss her very much.
I invite you to always continue to share these memories with each other, but especially with her family. And as everyone has said, this is how Robin's memory continues to live on. At this time, we join together in our prayer, the Mourner's Kaddish, our prayer that we say when someone we love has died on the anniversary of their death. And interestingly, this prayer doesn't mention the word death, but is a praise and gratitude for our lives. I invite you to rise in body or spirit, and we can join together on the screen. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shmei rabbah be'alma divrach chirutei v'amlich malchutei b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'hayei dehol beit Yisrael Ba'agala v'zman kari v'imru. Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mivarach Leolam Olamei Almaya. Yit Barach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitromam V'yitnaseh V'yithadar V'yit'aleh V'yithalal Shmei Dekudsha Brihu Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'shirata Tushbechata V'ne'emata Da'amiran Be'alma V'imru Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya V'chaim Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom Bimromav Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. Say Zichrona Livraha, may Robin's memory forever be a blessing. Together we say, Amen. You may be seated. I invite up Robin's son-in-law Martin and daughter Mallory as we conclude our service together. They're going to join together in Olam Chesed Yibaneh, that a world of loving kindness we can build through our small acts of loving kindness. After the conclusion of our service here, we invite everyone to head downstairs into the auditorium, to share in more memories, to share in some food, and to share in some time together. Now, the word chesed in Hebrew, word chesed means loving kindness. And it's this idea that we take our emotion of love and turn it into an action of kindness. And through our small acts of loving kindness, we can create a world of loving kindness in Robin's memory.
I will build this world from love. You must build this world from love. And if we build this world from love, then God will build this world from love. Olam chesed yivaneh. Olam chesed yivaneh.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for sharing your memories, beautiful voices. Thank you for being here. You're welcome to join us downstairs.